good morning this morning, and this is Shit Ain't the Same. If this is your first time, thank you so much. And if you always listen, I appreciate you guys for always tuning in and supporting. They say it's a subscribe button, a little bell. Make sure you click the bell so you can get more notifications on when I post my podcast. So we all know that election time is here. Nervous about it. Everybody's so nervous about it because of our past elections. And I just want you to know, when you are motivating an unrepresented group of people, we need connection, trust, and urgency. So that is the reason why I got on really quick with two people that I feel like can give us some insight on why it's so important to vote. And just like my dad say, no voting is a vote. Not voting is a vote. Okay, so we got to get out here to these polls. I know in New Jersey we're both voting for governor tomorrow, and it's important for us to get out and show the support and the change that we want in your communities, right? So we have Dr. Suzanne Mullings here. She is the Bergen County Black Caucus president. And we have Tamika Stewart here. She's running for city council. She's a city council candidate in Newburgh. Welcome, ladies, and thank
Thank
you
you.
for
you.
having
Thanks for
me.
having us.
Thank you.
Yes, so we got to get our people straight. I mean, we have to get our people on the right track, and just to know that I know people that know that know politics, understand politics, and that you can explain to us, Tamika first, how important is our vote?
It's
Mm,
extremely important.
yeah.
I'm just gonna start, Tamika. I don't mean to
Yep.
cut you off, with the delay. My apologies in advance.
Go.
Our vote is extremely important, particularly in the Black and Brown communities. We have to make sure that we have representation. And if we don't vote, or we're just, sit it out, then what essentially happens is we just don't have a voice. So all those complaints mean nothing. Instead of complaining, we have to just organize and vote. And then we have leverage to do more things in our communities at all levels, state, local, and federal.
Right, right. Tamika.
Um, I would say that the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, and all of the things that we had to go through to get the right to vote makes our vote makes people understand that our vote is extremely important. I think a lot of times we forget what it took for us to get our right to vote, and it was important for them to restrict our right to vote. So we should inform people that having the right to vote is equally as important. If it wasn't important, they would not try all of the things to stop us from voting. So it is absolutely important. And I say this: if you work, you pay taxes, and you don't vote, it's like somebody reaching into your pocket, taking your money, and you have no say of what they do, or how you're represented with those tax dollars. And that's just from an economic standpoint. You should be voting, because, especially in your local elections, it is absolutely important. And I think that our ancestors fought for that, and our forefathers fought for our right to vote because they understood the importance of it. And all of those who try to suppress our votes understand the importance of it. So, we just have to all do our equal part, or our little part, in trying to inform people.
So we have Billy Council. He's with us as well. He's a former city council candidate in Harlem. And Billy, what I wanted to ask you is, I know everybody is always quick to go and vote for president, but how important is it for the lower elections for us?
Well, the lower election again. Good morning, ladies, and I'm sorry for my
Good
tardiness.
morning.
Was in the
Morning.
meeting, and I guess the reception wasn't well in the building I was in. Unfortunately, growing up, we were taught about the three governments, branch of government, right? And we didn't really get into the lower elections area. We got into the executive branch when we voted for the president and the governor. And we thought that's all that matters. But your local election is where all the funding comes down to. Your local election is probably the most important election because that's the one that affects you directly, right? That's the one who really goes into Senate and try to get bills passed for things that goes on in our community. So a local election is more important to me, than any other the big elections, right? Like little things like it's interesting that I'm speaking to a group of young people today about trying to write a bill to get poop off the streets. That's what the young people are calling it, right? Because they're walking down the street and there's poops everywhere. It's poop all around the school. So they want to get a bill introduced and they want to learn how to get that bill introduced. You're not going to get that bill introduced by going to the president, right? So it's going to have to start with your local election. It's going to have to start with your city council person, your assembly person, your state senator person who represents your particular district. Those are the ones who affect you daily more so than anything else. So our local election is by far the most powerful one that we can have.
I love, oh my God. I mean, Billy, I really, really do love that because I was going to ask Mika to tell us how, I mean, the job of the city council, because I know you're a candidate right now in Newburgh. What is really the job of the city council and how important is it for us to make sure that we go out and vote for city council?
Right. So I tell people, and there's this saying that all elections are local. It really is. And that's not like rhetoric. That is absolutely the truth. So, a city council person, for instance, I just did a video on it because most people don't know what a city council person, their job description is, or what they work on and what they help people with. So, for instance, roads, infrastructure, making sure the potholes are not tearing up your cars, that city council, making sure you have safe drinking water, making sure that your facility and your supply and distribution of your water is safe. That is city council. Making sure that they're passing legislation for quality of life. That is city council. And when I say quality of life, that is poop on the ground, right? That is not making sure that people are cleaning up after their animals like they should be. That is people, urinating in the street, having open containers and drinking, open. All of those things is quality of life. That starts with your local city council. It should start at your local city council because they can pass legislation to help manage some of that. So a city council person also is going to help talk about and discuss and approve development, real estate development that's happening in your areas, whether they're condos that are going up, whether if there is housing of any sort, making sure that that housing is affordable housing, not the buzzword affordable housing, but either mixed use housing. Because people, and I hope at some point the city council in every area starts to educate people on what affordable housing really is, because affordable housing without talking about AMI, which is average median income, is not really affordable housing. Affordable housing for me here in Newburgh is different for you in New Jersey, and for someone in Manhattan, someone across the bridge from me. So we have to start educating people on what AMI is and how that plays into affordable housing. But low income housing, mixed use housing, commercial properties, businesses that come in, that is all local. That is everything that you need. You drink your water every day when you cook, when you shower, you use your water. You every time you leave out your driveway or you drive down the street, your car is hitting, your roads. That is every day is your city council is represented in your life. And I tell people, if you're running for city council, this is not a game. Like, you're playing with people's lives if you're playing this as a game. Like, you really have to want to invest in your community and want your community to be better, because you really do have a big job and you affect people's lives.
I love
So
that.
that's just some of the ways that city council, some of the ways they affect our lives.
Okay. Dr. Mullins, I know you're with the Bergen County Black Caucus. How are you organizing people, and can you offer us some ideas to organize people?
So, with our Black Caucus, we do education and advocacy, and that's really getting out into the community, having different events that people can attend and
I'm
be
sorry, Ro.
educated.
Yes.
I just want to make sure my sister is good. Do you guys only see her mouth?
No, I see her whole face.
You see her whole face?
Yes.
Okay, I only see her mouth. I just wanted to make sure we're not just seeing mouth. Go ahead, Dr.
Yeah, I
Mullins.
see her whole face.
Okay, so once we get, into groups, forums, whether they're at churches, different events in the community, and really attracting people that need the information. Tamika made a good point about councils educating the community. A lot of that is our job because they're not going to educate if it doesn't benefit them, and that's just the reality. As a whole, not an individual candidate. So getting the people out into spaces that they can understand the urgency and the importance of what their vote means can actually help them understand and get them out to the poll. When
Mhm.
people don't understand what the vote means, particularly like something like the primary is very high stakes because if the candidate doesn't win, they won't be on the ballot in November. So the fact that it's very low attended is concerning, and for our communities, they really need to know, not give you an answer that, oh, I'm not going to vote in the primary, I'll vote in the general. That doesn't even make sense because then the candidate that they tend to support will have the tendency not to even make it. So they have to know what their vote means, why they're voting. We're voting now for this upcoming election in New Jersey for governor, assembly, state assembly, and commissioners. So, if we don't understand that the people that make the difference in our day-to-day life, those are the people that are on the ballot. Our lives are on the ballot every time. Elections are every year. So it shouldn't just be a fact that we are trying to educate people during the election season. It has to be ongoing, especially in our community, so it becomes routine.
And and we as Black people, we always say, we know that we are unrepresented, but at the same time, we don't come out to support ourselves. We think
Hmm.
that things are just going to fall into place and things are just going to, miraculously happen and magically happen, and it just doesn't happen like that. And we have people like Tamika and Dr. Mullins and Billy that's always got their feet on the ground, right? So we have to come out and support our city councils, our local elections, to make sure that we don't even have the potholes and the, just like Tamika said, and the poop on the ground and all the things. I mean, I live in, a part of Edgewater that I don't really see much of that, but I work in Harlem. And when I'm walking out the doors of my salon in Harlem, I am just I mean, sometimes I'm just baffled by all of the garbage and the poop and everything that I see on the ground. And the thing that made me cry so much is that I gave out hula hoops last summer. And I was outside hula hooping with the girls. And I took a video. And all I could see in the video was the garbage
Hmm.
and the just all the, I'm like, and this was our playground, right? And they throwing up all these buildings, but we don't have any real playgrounds. I don't see anybody building playgrounds. I don't see anybody
Hmm.
upkeeping the playgrounds. So what can we do, as a whole, to make sure that that we're holding the candle to these people that are in charge? Billy?
I
I
mean,
think one of
something
the
as simple as poop and potholes are definitely things we have to hold our council people accountable for and be mindful of who we vote for. Because when a pothole takes out your tire, it's very expensive to replace.
Right.
And when you are walking and you are riddled with garbage and poop, those are things that we also have to be mindful that those decisions happen at the council, right? And that's why it's important to vote. Billy made a good point about constructing a bill. In a lot of towns, there's ordinances that already support this. So we have to make sure people are being paid to do the job, and if it's not being done, we have to hold them accountable.
Right.
So just to piggyback a little bit off of what you said, Dr. Mullins, is two things. We have to be accountable for ourselves, right? We have to take the accountability, right? We have to make sure
Mhm.
that we show up at our community board meeting. So when Rochelle said something about there is no parks, like every year the community boards have this big grand bills that they have to pass, and where money is going to go and how much money is going to go where, and there is not so many people that's representing us in those community boards because they don't feel that it's need to be there, right? So when we talk about being responsible, I think the first responsibility lies within us, right? It lies within the constituents to sit there and say, you know what, I need to hold my elected officials accountable for not getting this done. I need to go to their office and let them know what the issues are and what do I see. A lot of times we sit by and we talk about things, but we don't really.
Billy, I think you cut off. Oh, we lost Billy.
Oh, maybe Wi-Fi is reconnecting.
Uh-huh.
I'll just jump in
Okay.
until Billy comes back so he can finish his thought.
Okay.
Uh, you you spoke about something that is absolutely important. Billy, you back? Oh,
He's gone.
he logging back on.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you spoke about something that is absolutely important, that people are not getting out to vote, they're not paying attention. And I wanted to share that that is not by accident, right? That is by design. Disenfranchisement is a big machine, and it is absolute, it's a lot of money that goes into disenfranchising a voter, as specifically voters in specific communities, especially Black and brown communities. That is a real thing. It is a real market, and they put millions and millions of dollars into the systems and the structures to disenfranchise voters. And disenfranchise means making people think and believe that their vote doesn't count, two, that they there's no need for them to vote, and three, everybody else will do it except for me. I think those are systems that are at play, that it may seem like it's just all on the individual. It is not. There are systems that are structured, and powerful systems that are at play to make sure that people are continue to think like that, and don't get involved in the political process. So that is not a, that's not an easy feat. It's not something you can just say one person has the ability to run through or fix or do anything like that. This has been happening for centuries, and it's going to continue. But the more we are enlightened, the more we are informed, and we inform others, it starts to get a little weaker and a little more weaker. But sometimes it takes us till we get a little older to start paying attention. And now you got a lot of young people that are starting to pay attention. So maybe, we'll see some more of that change or inroads in that a lot. But I say this, you hold people accountable by showing up, being there. And Billy said a word before he had to kind of get reconnected, is constituent. I tell everybody to make sure you know that you are a constituent. When you go to talk to a legislator of at any level, assembly person, city council, senator, Congress, you tell them that before you tell them your name, you tell them that you are a constituent. And a constituent means that I recognize that you are a public servant, and that my tax dollars pay for the work that you do. So, which means that you understand that I understand what this connection, this relationship is. So it's a different response. It's a different response to you when you lead with, I am a constituent, and
Mm,
then say whoever you are, because now that person knows that you are aware and you may be informed about some things, and they respond to you differently.
mm,
But as a constituent, you have real power and you have a real voice. And then, we just have to start informing people of how to use that voice, how to go to their senator, how to go to their elected officials for housing. They have monies that are earmarked for communities, people in communities for housing. They have monies that are earmarked for green spaces. So what are you doing? You have to go to them and let them know that that's what you want.
The other piece to that that's really interesting that sometimes we don't really look at because we don't understand it, especially in some of our urban communities, is how important is the census report, right? A lot of times people don't look at the census report. So when they come in to have you sign the census report, you're like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not. But that's how funding comes into our community.
Mhm.
That's how they
Mhm.
say that this is the type of funding that needs to be exhausted in these communities, and we don't do that. So we like it, Rochelle. It goes back to, I think we talked about this before. Like a lot of times we hide from the system instead of approaching the system in a way like, nah, we need to do this. Like when we talk about, not going to jury duty, right? Oh, I'm gonna find a way to get out of jury duty. But then yet still we say the system is broken, right? So we can't have it. So we gotta sometimes, and that's why I am a big advocate of holding us accountable. Right? Like we gotta be accountable. Nobody's coming to save us. And if we're not there to fight for ourselves, we're gonna be out in this island keep saying, well, they doing this to us, they doing that to us. When you got council people like Tameka Stewart who's fighting, you got Dr. Cummins who's fighting, you got Billy Council who's trying to fight for our community and get these things. We can't stand out there fighting for ourselves. We gotta say, you know what? I'm getting behind these individuals who are looking to empower and to help us do this work. And I think that's where the accountability starts.
Right, right.
I
Oh,
agree.
can I?
A little fired up.
But
Yes. So
I just want
listen.
to say, after speaking to Billy, he really changed my mind and my perspective on jury duty, showing up. I am one of those people. I'm one of those people that will go and try to get out of jury duty any kind of way I can. And then when I see people not getting their just due when they go to court, and after talking to Billy, it's like, oh, because this person did not have a jury of their peers. So
Yep.
you got all these white people and all these people that don't live in the community with this person, don't live nowhere near, don't know nothing about this person, don't know nothing about the background of this person and how this person lives, being judged by people that they don't even know. So
So
they're
I
never
did.
getting a fair. They never getting a fair shot. So thank you, Billy. You have definitely changed my mind. I haven't got a jury duty thing. I'm looking for my jury.
I'm going. I'm going. I'm going. So and look what jury duty. I did grand jury duty one time. And you are on the same exact wavelength, Billy. I did grand jury duty. And in doing grand jury, during that time, we had all these people in the room. I think I was one of two black people that were brown black people that were in their space. And something came up where a man, they wanted to charge someone based off of the fact that he ran. And because he ran, he must have been guilty. And I said, are you guys absolutely insane? Not understanding the culture of the person and individual that we are talking about and the instance in which we were talking about it, that we don't wait for someone to tell us what happened and stand around and figure something out. When we see somebody run, we run and we ask questions later.
We
And
run because other
I
people
sat
run.
in this room and I said, you guys absolutely have no clue of what you are talking about. If you watch the video, you see somebody start the run or two people start running, and this person just looks and just starts running. That is not a a thing of guilt because somebody ran. It was crazy because they did not understand culture. And it was me and a couple of other people that were allies that was like, I don't think so. But had we not been there to even inject that into the conversation, it
Mhm.
would have been, okay, yep, we're gonna indict him. What? Are you kidding me? Like, it's culture. So please, I tell everybody, if you get a notice for jury duty, go, you are doing your civic duty. But I wanted to say this about something you asked Rochelle about organizing. How do we get people to organize? That is the foundation of everything. If we are not organizing, we are dying. That is in any industry, in any community, any state, and any country. If you're not organizing, you're dying. I just recently that and know this. We were going there was a school board election, and just know that school board elections have been infiltrated from far right extremists, and they are infiltrating in school boards and bringing all of that nonsense with them, and it is affecting us, at local levels, because that is a local level kind of race and or entity. So we were up against five people that call themselves the Doge Five, right? Their lieutenant, the Doge Five. They hailed the fact that people were going to be losing their jobs, and Doge has finally come to Newburgh. So there were three seats up. We wanted to keep one, two people we wanted gone. They tried to bring in a very extremist MAGA cult member that had everything on his Facebook page, from black people eating cats and dogs, to DEI, if you're black, being hired in any position. Just whatever you think is that cult mindset, it was there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to shorten this for you. I organized this community to filth. When I tell you, I had to stand up in an auditorium in the school board meeting and said, this is not how you are going to win a race, and this is not how you're going to change what is happening in this school district right now. People signed up. That was from March when we had our election May 20th. We took all three seats. Why? Because we organized. There is nothing that you can do that people need to be doing individually. We won all three seats. And that is the absolute remedy to a lot of things that we deal with. It is organizing. That's
Mhm.
where I come in at. We got to organize. So I just wanted to share the power in organizing.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
And just to piggyback on that, when we as a community organize, it gets the attention of others, because we are not looked at as a group that is consistent when organizing.
Mhm.
And as a past elected official at the Board of Education, the Board of Education has the largest budget in most towns. So as Tamika said, it is infiltrated a lot of times by people with not the best of intentions. So you have to pay attention at the local level. Who are the people in place? Because at the end of the day, the majority wins the vote. And that's
Mhm.
with any council or board. And we have to make sure we have representation. It cannot be people that don't send their children to the schools. It can't just be people that don't utilize the services in the community. And that's why we do have the responsibility to organize and educate our communities so they know what's on the agenda, and usually we are the ones being served, so we have to make sure that they have a voice. And if they don't, what happens? They are not represented, they're not a part of the conversation, they don't know what's going on. And it's not until things happen that we usually come out and we're reactive, and that's not the way we want to be.
Right, right. So I wanted
Yeah.
to touch on one other thing because I came across this word that I had never heard before, and that word is stagflation.
Okay.
I never heard of it before. So in my research, when I was researching stagflation, they were talking about when three things are just at a standstill at one time. When the economic growth is at a standstill, it's high inflation and it's high unemployment. So, so what the analysis was saying is that we haven't had all of this to happen at the same time, right? I
Mhm.
just wanted to know how I wanted to know you guys' perspective on this stagflation and how it's going to affect our communities.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I think stagflation is a word that people think is new, but it's been in our community for centuries, right? We've been stagnated with economic development. We've been stagnated with black businesses. We've been stagnated with housing, right? So all of those things is something that we deal with on a regular, and we're going to continue to deal with, right? Until we get voices into Senate, get voices into the House of Representatives to sit there and say, no, these are the things that need to stop in these certain communities. And like Tamika said earlier, right? It's like I call it a cult, right? Where that certain individuals want things to work a certain way so they can continue to have power, so they can continue to push their own agendas, right? And this is the reason why we can't get there's certain PACs that's representing other people and giving certain people money, right?
Mhm.
So they can continue with their agenda. Right. It was something that's interesting that someone said to me one time, and I kind of fought against it. Then I thought about it, and I said a lot of times in our community, we a lot of elected officials hold seats forever for power, right? And then on the other side, they hold the seat for an agenda. And their agenda is carried through for years. So when we look at certain communities, when there's no succession plan, right? That's stagnation. That's the stagnation right there. Because a lot of us, and I'm going to be the first one to say, a lot of us in our communities, we sit in positions for the longest just so we can say we're there and we're not making a change. So when we talk about that word you just said, that is a lot of our older representatives, the old guards who want to keep it for themselves, don't want to bring new ideas in, don't want to bring new individuals in, and we
Yeah.
continue to have the same powers, right? So what they do is they go and they go pick at the same cherry pot that they've been picking at for the last 30 something years. Right. So when you do that, our community stays stagnated. Right. And it's not until other people that don't look like us come into our community, go to our community boards, have these conversations, and then bring new ideas and new stuff into our community, and then it's no longer ours. Right. So stagnation is something that's been there forever. And if we don't organize, and if we don't put the right people in office, we're going to continue to be stagnated, and we're going to continue to be having these conversations on what's next in our community.
Good. Well said.
Very well said, Billy. And you say that, and that means I know that you're paying attention, because that's exactly what happened in Harlem. It is exactly what happened in Harlem,
Yeah.
So let me
and
just
it's exactly what.
Tamika, I don't mean to drop you off. I don't mean to cut you
Mhm,
off, but it's something that's really important.
mhm.
And for you guys who know the politics, especially the lay of the land in Harlem, there was 3 politicians who control the assembly, the council, in the
Yep,
Senate seat for the last 30 plus
30 plus
years.
years.
3 people. 3 people. And now y'all see why we're at such a disadvantage right now. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just needed to say that. And y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that's why I know what you're talking about, because you said it, and that means you understand exactly what is going on. And I just want people to start understanding that succession planning is powerful. If you are not ushering in and mentoring people so that they can take over, so that they can go to the next level and take, you can only take the place, or your community, but so far. You gotta usher in and mentor in new ideas, fresh blood, so that they can now take it to the next level. But
Yep.
you always have people that are so stuck. And they are stuck on the power, the privilege, the benefits, and all of the beautiful perks and things that come with it, that they forget about the people. They forget
People,
about the community. They forget about the real agenda. And
agenda,
here is my thing on what I have to say, because going through this process as a candidate for city council, I'm learning a lot. And one of the things that I have learned is, this is my critique of the democratic system that we have. It is weak. They need to change. And if they are not ready to usher in change, we will continue to lose races at local levels, and we will continue to lose races at a state, and also a federal level, because we have to do better with creating an infrastructure, having a real agenda, and getting everybody on board for that agenda, so that we can move it forward and not for people's personal gain. If you are not in this to move the agenda forward, which is to better the communities in which you are asking to serve, then we should not be backing those people. The system should not be backing those people. And we should have an infrastructure in place that is strong enough to be able to ward that off. But we don't have that. We are going to continue to struggle. We're and let's be clear that what we are seeing at the federal level, it started at the local level. That organization started at the local level. Was like, everybody get on board. It's like, if you're not on board, we're gonna roll you over. And everybody got on board. And this didn't happen last year. It didn't happen the election before that. It happened way before Donald Trump even got into office. This
Right.
happened 20, 30 years ago. That was the plan. And guess what happened? We see what is happening at the federal level, and we are now starting to feel the results of all of that organizing that they did. We have to do the same thing. And I tell people, don't put no label on me. Don't put no socialist label on me. Don't put no progressive label on me. Don't put no painful label on me. My label is for the people and for what is right. So don't come to me with no labels, because I'm not with it. I am Tamika, and I represent people. And I tell people, I represent you, and I will fight for you and organize with you, with or without a seat. And that is just, if you don't have that mindset, then I don't want to be bothered. But we have to really understand what we're doing and what our trajectory looks like, what our goals are, what we want them to look like, and create a real infrastructure behind it. And that has to be all levels. And if we're not ready and prepared to do that, then people need to be prepared to continue to be in a weak system.
And also, when we talk about agendas and the machine, we're talking about money. When we talk about
Yep.
constituents, they have to be able to support candidates like Tamika if they want to see the change that she talks about. They
Mhm.
have to be willing to donate money. We can't fight a fight with, $2, and the machine has millions. And we're not even willing to come out and listen to education. We're not even willing to come out and vote. That's not going to work, and we're going to stay in the same position. So that's why we work hard to get the information out to the community, get them to understand that it takes us to organize, come out in numbers, get into those deep areas and reach where, others are not going, because those are the areas that are most affected. And when we just sit there, like she said, this didn't just happen in November. This is 20, 30 years. And the walls are really closing in, because a lot of times when the issues come to people, it's already a done deal. When they're breaking ground on the building, on the ground next to you, it's nothing you could do to fight it. That's already been in progress. So we have to stop being reactive and more proactive. And that takes organization. That takes supporting candidates that look like us, that have an agenda. I mean, realistically, Tamika wins, and no, we're not going to continue to support her. Then what does she have to rely on, right? She has to go to other places, and that's the reality of politics. And when people say I'm not into politics, well, politics are into you, because the decisions that are made by the people in place affect all of us. Right. So that's what we have to start to understand. And it has to be hardwired. It cannot just be during election season when you come out to ask for votes. It has to be ongoing, because the same suffrage of what is it, stagnation,
Stagflation.
Stagflation.
stagflation, it's nothing new. It's what we deal with every day. If you don't have jobs, people in place and positions are going to give jobs to those that support them. That's the
Yep.
reality.
And I'm a word person, right? So I know that someone would see that word and be like, "Well, what does that word mean?" I always want to bring the words up front, right?
Right, right,
I'm not
right.
a politician at all. I'm just a person that cares. But to talk about systems, right? When you guys are talking about how the seniors that's been in these office for 30, 40 years or whatever are not teaching people. What we do in our salon is that our senior people will stop doing a service altogether. Like we stopped doing ponytails and braids altogether to give them to another stylist that had to build her clientele, right? Why would we gatekeep that clientele knowing that we can just give up one service? We just gave up one service to pass it on to someone else. So if we were able to do that in our in our in politics, if they were able to do that in politics, do you know where we will be in the world right now if we had three, four, five, six Barack Obamas, that are being trained to work under him and that can come, like, could you imagine what we will be? And I just hate that we can't organize in that way. I hate that we can't come together and figure things out together collectively. I really do hate that for us, and I just don't know. I'm gonna do my part. I know you guys are doing y'all part, but I just want to figure out like how can we get this word out even more to make this
Well,
platform.
it takes courage. That's the first part. It takes courage. And you have to be willing to hear people that's not interested. Everybody's not going to be interested, but
Right,
you have to make connections. There are things that happen in everybody's everyday life that are at risk right now
right,
in the world we're living in right now. So we have to make it more realistic, make it more palatable so they understand that no, I'm not just begging you for a vote. I want you to be involved in your future, your children's future. When we have people from outside that come in and take over our towns, our communities, whether it's gentrification, all of these different aspects are all related to local politics. And we have to really get the message out so they understand the different branches of the local politics and different aspects that affects them every day, whether it's groceries, whether it's taxes, whether it's poop on the ground, whether it's potholes. All those things are very relative to us.
okay. Any
I
any
think
any
it's
last words, Billy?
just to go back to what Dr. Mullen said, I think it's important, and I'm a big advocate of not blaming others, right? I'm a big advocate of looking inside the mirror and say, what can I do better? How can I be better? How can I help? How can I do more? Right? I think we as a community and you know need to understand that there is people out there who are willing to help and willing to support, but we got to sometimes put our pride aside and say, hey, this is what I need,
Yeah.
right? So I know, Tamika, you can understand this piece, and I know you will love this. When I was running for city council, I thought it was four issues that I need to just to counter, right? I just need four issues, whether it was safety, economic development, business. But then I got to a table and it was so many different issues, and people want you to fix it just like that. And the other piece to fixing it like that, they are not doing the work, right? They are not doing the research. They are not doing the on betting process, right? They're looking at a name recognition that they see all the time, but not really questioning that person and asking that person, hey, what was your track record on this? How much discretionary funds that you had left in your budget that you gave to our education system or after school or our community-based organization, grassroots organizations who are doing the work on the ground? So I think that, before you hold our elected officials accountable, hold yourself accountable for doing the work and then going to that table and going to their office and saying, how can I support you? Right? How can you help me get the word out? Because if we go back, I think what we need to do, and Tamika, I know you're going to probably do this. Dr. Mullins, you're doing this, but I think we need to have a voting 101 class. We need to have a three government of branch class because half of our affluent black folks don't even know who's their local official in their brownstone that they just brought, right? They just buying it to buy it and not realizing that, wait a minute, I haven't even went to my community board to figure out like who's who and what in this community. So I just think my last parting words will be, let us all continue to get involved and let's continue to learn and let's continue to support the ones who are supporting us and who are there to do the work for us.
Thank you, Billy.
So I think that Billy, you are spot on because I am doing a civics is you class. My background is training and development. I'm a social worker by trade, but my background is training and development. And one of the things that I've noticed in my evaluation is that people don't know. And it's okay. The stuff that a lot of us have learned when we were in elementary school or high school about civics, it looks real different when you are a young adult or when you're an adult paying taxes or a homeowner or like it's different or business owner. That civics is different because now you have to figure out in your new position how do these things interact and how you interact with these systems and these things. So it is called civics is you, and I'm doing that. That's going to be one of the first programs that I do. And I tell people with or without a seat, this is the work that I'm going to do regardless. So that will be had. But the other thing is coalition building. having I'm not about having meaningless conversations. This conversation that we're having today is a conversation that is of purpose. So even if Dr. Mullings is in New Jersey, Billy is in Harlem, I'm here in Newburgh, upstate. Like that's multi-state, multifaceted, multi-organizations, building the coalition, having the conversations. We can't do these things by ourselves. So the more we bring and add people on that are of like mind and want to actually move the agenda, there are things that we need to be coming together on to work on so that we can do what we say that we want to do, which is engage and build up the community, inform them and educate them. But coalition building is absolutely important. So I would absolutely say to Billy and Dr. Mullings, Rochelle, we need to be figuring out what we do from this conversation and how we take this conversation and this platform and say, okay, the next time we meet is going to be next month and we're going to do a Civic 6U, or we're going to do something that's bigger on a bigger stage for somebody, whatever it is. But you start that series, but you have to start building coalitions because that is how that's like the crux of organizing. And I hope that we have organizations that are going to start highlighting people like Billy and Dr. Mullings and Rochelle's, the people that are curious, not into politics, but start highlighting them so that they can work with them in their communities to actually do something different. These organizations that are, around, they do their own job and they get very tunnel vision and they only see their goal. And it's like, no, we have to have a broad view of what's happening so that they understand where they fit in the communities in which they serve. So I'm going to definitely encourage and ask for more coalition building.
I
Billy,
think
what's
real fast,
No, you good.
I
We got
think
time.
something just came to my mind. We should do a salon talk, civic engagement conversation at
Mhm.
Rochelle's spot. That's how we start to engage and meet people where they at. Like once a month, we can have a salon talk, civic engagement. We got these elections coming all the way up, especially here in New York City in November. Let's have this salon talk and let's educate everybody on this stuff. We can do it once a month. These conversations can just be the conversations where we just help one another and support one another on how they can get civically involved, whether it's in New Jersey, whether it's upstate of Newburgh, whether it's here in Manhattan and Harlem. I think if, like you just said, Tamika, having these conversations is great. But what's the action plan? What's the follow-up plan? So let's figure out something, Rochelle, right?
okay?
Where we can do a salon talk. Even if it's 25 people in there.
Yeah.
We can get a sponsor, bring some food, Chick-fil-A, everybody eats Chick-fil-A, bring Chick-fil-A in there from the community board. Hey, and let's just have these conversations. And that's where it starts. We
Let's
start
do it.
small and then we branch out.
I say let's do it.
I
Absolutely.
Let's do
I
it.
just want
That
to
sounds great.
I just want to say for anybody that's listening, make sure that you're doing more than just voting for president. Look up your local candidates, support candidates that align with your values, and don't be afraid to do the research, okay? As Tamika said, it's not about a different party and a progressive. Who's aligning with your values, and make sure that that person is somebody that you can be giving your vote to, that will represent you in the grand scheme of things. When you are not sure who's doing what, you have to put your vote in someone's hands that's going to do
Right.
something with it, that's going to make a difference. Follow up on any organization, but most importantly, I encourage people that are in Bergen County to look up Bergen County Black Caucus. We're on social media. We are educating and advocating at all levels. We primarily focus on the youth because that youth development is going to surpass us when we're gone. And, these are the things that we need to focus on, not being antagonistic, but working together, because that way we can make sure that our message resonates throughout our community. We also do work to make sure that we have an increased number of Black elected officials in Bergen County. So we're not going anywhere, and that is our mission and our goal. And I just, encourage those that are like minded to get on board with that and see how they can volunteer, be a part and do something. COVID is over. We have to come back outside, see what's going on with the folks, and get engaged.
I love
And also,
I
I
love
just,
the voting 101 class. I love
yep.
that because even when I was talking to Billy last year on the podcast, it's just like, oh, so what the judicial system does? What's the legislative? What's this? What's the? And I was just like, just even going to do the research on my own in all
Mhm.
transparency, I wasn't connected with
Mm-hmm.
each house was doing. I wasn't. But now
Right.
just thinking about it and just reintroducing myself to the language,
Mhm.
what everything does, I'm like, oh, okay. We need to be involved. Because
Yeah.
a lot of
Involved,
people
involved. Yes.
yeah, involved. Because a lot of people, I've been a hairstylist for 30 years, right? And I'm seeing women every single day. And these women are so disgusted with the way the presidency went that they're like, oh, I ain't voting no more. I ain't doing this. I'm not doing it. I said, no, 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 no. You can't just give up like that. This fight is
You have
never
to vote
over.
more. You
It's
have to come
never
out even
over.
more.
Exactly.
Right.
This fight is not over. So we got to get our butts up and go and vote because not
Yep.
voting, vote.
So,
Well, I think somebody opened up the conversation with, I think it was you, Rochelle. No vote is a vote for the other side. So either
yeah,
Exactly.
way, you sit it out, you're just giving away your
you're
vote.
giving it
I
away.
mean,
Yep.
August this year, we're coming up on 60 years to commemorate the Voter Rights Act. So, if those that don't know about it, that's why we are fighting so hard because the rights that we fought for are under attack. And
Right.
if
Yep.
you watch the news at all, it's right in your face. You can't deny it.
Right.
Things we took for granted are slipping away, and we
Right.
can't
Yep.
afford it.
Right.
And what I wanted to say was, a part of this organizing effort is it is great, and we have to play our part. Um, Everybody is not expected to be, everybody has a role in all of this. And everybody is not always going to be boots on the ground, right? You have some people that will be out front. You have some people that will be behind the scenes. You have some people that will donate just financially. You have some people that can actually, do some different kind of strategies, have consultations or understand data and all of those things. Like everybody can play a role. Somebody might just be like, look, my level of involvement is just me sharing something on social media. Great.
Mhm.
Excellent. That is what, so you meet people where they are in this organizing effort, and wherever they are, you just tap into that. Because it is very important that if we are not doing things for the right reasons or with the best of intentions, we can cause major harm to people in our community. So we have to start waking people up. And the same thing that
Yes.
happened with the school board election, they said that that was the first time these candidates have run before, the first time, and people in the city, that they have had that much energy, that much organization, and that much support around a school board election. I said, well, we're just getting started. This is
Right.
this is a science. This is a real science. And the art of organizing is very real. So you just help people understand what role they play in all of that. And sometimes they get excited about it and they don't. But I'm here to tell anybody that is running for something, that is doing anything, you are not going to move the people until the people get excited about something
You
or someone. And if you are not exciting people, you're not piquing their interest. They're not saying, oh, I'm going to go to her on social media because I saw she said something, or I heard something, or I did something that we will continue to be flat. People need to be woken up. And the only way you wake people up is if you pique their interest and they're excited about something. We have to give people something to be excited about again. We've had those people in the past, and we have to start identifying and supporting those people when we see them. Now we got to wake people up,
Right.
I
and that
agree.
don't happen overnight. It takes some time. So I just wanted to share. You can find me. I'm on social media for Tamika, TAMIKANBNY, and that's my political page, my candidate page, and I'm also that same thing on TikTok. And on Facebook, it's Tamika Stewart for Newburgh Council. But that is, again, start of the infrastructure. Start making sure that everybody is connected on social media and ways that we utilize social media so that we can come together. And when we do promote the salon talks, now we have a larger base, audience that we can, market to. So make sure everybody knows your social media. And if you are listening, make sure you follow me. Rochelle will always say Harlem Crafted, but no, it is Tamika MBNY when I'm on my other stuff, my
Okay.
community.
Well, quickly, because I gotta jump off. I'm teaching a civic engagement class right now to some young fifth graders who I told you guys are trying to write this bill to get the streets cleaned and poop removed. So, and we're gonna I'm gonna take them to City Hall so they can present it to some of the council members there. But I just want to say I'm Billy Council, and I'm on all platforms as Billy Council. And one of the things I just want to say, and it's not political, it's not anything, but it's one thing I want us to all keep in mind. When we stop fighting for each other, we stop fighting for all mankind and humanity. So we got to continue to fight, we got to continue to employ, and we got to continue to uplift and inspire everyone as much as we can, because we need it in this economy. And use your voice because it counts. So I just want to say
Yes.
thank you, Rochelle.
Thank you.
We'll talk offline. Tamika, we just get this group tech together to get this salon talk together. You know what I mean? And we're gonna be the change that we want to see in our community. I appreciate y'all all, and I'll speak to y'all soon.
I love it. Thank
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you,
All right,
Billy.
talk soon. All right, bye bye.
And
Bye
one
bye.
my last parting word is, if we cannot use what is happening at the federal level to organize, you organize by issue, for issues. If we that what's happening should be our best organizing tool. And if we
Yes.
can't organize and win based off of that, then we're in trouble.
Agreed.
Thank you, Mika. And Dr. Mullins, how can we reach you?
We're on all social media, same tagline, Bergen County Black Caucus, one word. That's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. www.bcbcnj.org is our website, and you can find out all the information in regards to volunteering, joining membership, just getting involved in the community. Again, we serve all of Bergen County, New Jersey, and we'll be more than welcome to collaborate with any organization that's has the same mission and vision in terms of getting out the vote, increasing voter literacy, activism as it relates to representing issues regarding the Black community in Bergen County.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for coming on.
Thank you for having
Thank you,
us.
Rochelle. Thank you,
Definitely
Dr. Mullins.
connect.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Y'all can sign off.
Okay.
You can sign off. Whew. So that has been shit ain't the same, y'all. Let me tell you something. I'm so grateful to be able to talk to these people, to bring them to my community, because voting is not a game. It is not a game. It's so important for us to get out and make sure that we are voting, right? And the only way to motivate us is to make sure that we have connection, trust, and urgency in the community while we're organizing. People need to know that they can connect with us. People need to know that they can trust, and people need to know that you are urgent and you are serious about the things that we need in our communities. Okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this. This has been Shit Ain't the Same. Shit ain't the same, y'all. It is a paradigm shift happening. And if you don't roll with it, you will get rolled over. And the only way we're going to make it through this is together. All right. Till next time, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, and make sure you put on a notification so you can know when I'm posting more podcasts. Till next time.
My house.